Hello everyone, my name is Joshua and this is the 167th video on my video journal series. Today's date is Saturday, the 25th of July, 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And today I went to the grocery store to buy some anchovy and tuna pasta meals so then I could mix it in with the rice. That was my dinner plan. And I went inside the grocery store. They had plenty of tuna pasta meals, but when I went over to grab the anchovy, there was none. And this is a small grocery store, so they only have one brand of anchovy. There was all other options there, tuna, sardines, but no anchovy. I'm like, well, who's buying up all the anchovies? Certainly not me. I only grab like a few every visit. Either that or they threw them out because they were too old. But I went to that grocery store not too long ago and I look at the expiry dates and, they seem perfectly fine to me. So yeah, there must be someone near my area who's also hoarding anchovies, and I need to find that person because I cannot survive too long without anchovy. I just like its saltiness. And obviously, I've stated before, I like to mix it in with that tuna pasta meal and rice in a pot. And, that was my dinner, or would have been my dinner. Instead, I just had the tuna pasta meal and rice tonight. And, obviously it still tasted pretty good. But, the anchovy, I should have just gotten it at another supermarket when I had the chance. Because I was out, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. And they had anchovy, but I was like, I'll buy the other store's brand. But, turns out they didn't have any today. But, I know they restock their shelves like every day regularly. So I'll pop in soon and, grab a few cans while I'm at it. And I've definitely had that experience before where you go to the grocery store and you're looking for one particular thing. I mentioned a few days ago I was looking for TV snacks for those who live outside of Australia. TV snacks are these like mini chocolate sort of biscuits that are made by a famous company here in Australia called Arnott's. And I love them. My brother loves them, so obviously I have to keep it away from him because he's going to devour the entire pack. And I was looking everywhere, and I ended up having to go to another grocery store, and I found it, but it was like at the tail end of aisle two, even a confectionery and chocolates were aisle three. So I remember I've definitely had those experiences of trying to find a specific thing, but you can't, or it's like in a very, I guess, inconvenient location or a location where you're like, oh, that seems weird. It's like going to the side of a grocery store and you just want like, I don't know, toothpaste, but then turns out all the Colgate's sold out, because someone just hoards Colgate. Now, that is a hypothetical situation, though. I think we all seen during COVID, even the smallest things that we don't even think twice, like toilet paper, can like run out because people panic buy. And I remember COVID, and they had to put limits on toilet paper. Like everything else, all right, was at pretty good levels in terms of stock. I remember, like there was still cans of tuna, still fruit and vegetables. At least during like the first lockdown, in the stores I went to, there were still like those essentials, but toilet paper, that's what everyone was panic buying. Um, and it's like, oh, that seems a little bit weird. You kind of need food in order to poop, so why don't you grab the food? But then people realize that, oh crap, no pun intended. Um, you know, uh, you know, toilet paper is not something we currently have stockpiled at home. And trust me, like obviously, I value toilet paper. I need it, especially after my number twos. But it's not like the top of my list. And same thing with toothpaste. I mean, toothpaste is an essential, but whenever I go to the grocery store, it's usually like one of the last things I grab. But imagine, yeah, if you just go in, you're like, oh, well, that's just a mild inconvenience. There's no toothpaste on the shelf, right? Luckily, it was, anchovy, because anchovy is not an essential by most metrics. Um, Obviously, I very much like it, but I think I could most probably hold it off for a few days at most. And what other examples can I think of where you go in a grocery store, they don't have like, you can see everything else is on store shelves, but that one little thing that you're after is just like a blank. space. I really discussed toilet paper. Um, maybe that'll just come to my head a little bit later. When I'm ranting about something else. But apart from that, I don't really mind. Having to wait. Usually, I just pick up a substitute. In this case, there were no substitutes for, I guess, anchovy. I guess they had like mackerel and sardines, and I put sardines in that dish, with the tuna pasta meal and rice, and it's okay, but it doesn't have like that same sort of saltiness. And I can most probably close that book about anchovy because I think most of you will be like, falling just falling asleep just hearing me talk about anchovy. So I'm most probably going to close that book about anchovy. My hunt for anchovy. I'm gonna close that book. What else did I do today? What else? No, mostly just stayed at home. Usually, when I stay at home, days seem to go by a lot quicker. Um, when I'm out and about, which I have been a lot these holidays. It definitely seems like the days are prolonged. And I'll say these holidays went by, wow, like they felt pretty fast, but recounting everything I did, I'm like, wow, that was a you know short, I guess, relatively modest amount of time, but I did a lot of activities cramped in certain days. So yeah, I feel like I've kept up the momentum to go into uni back again. Because obviously I resume my studies next week. Maybe not my sleep schedule. That's kind of a little bit a little bit off. But yeah, I feel like I can easily go back in the flow, and who knows what holds this term. I mean, this is my second year at university, um, so yeah, who knows what will happen, and hopefully I'll be here to document it. I will be, but I gotta look for interesting stuff to talk about, except homework, or assignments, because you sure do get a lot of them in university. And I've had a look at some of the assignments because I've been doing the pre-work week one, readings and all that, even video lectures. And I had a look at the assignments, and they seem pretty interesting. So I'll keep you updated on I guess what I'll be doing. But certainly stuff that interests me. And I can also close that book about my uni prep. I can maybe shove that to the side. And yeah, I've been trying to also get, I guess, more exercise. I like to walk. I'm a very much an avid walker, and obviously, I walk to the grocery store. I walk, even if it's a far distance, I'll walk anywhere to get food or a snack. And I guess that's why I'm not really you know what point am I trying to make here? I guess like even though I might walk all the way to a grocery store and see that they have nothing on a store shelf. I'm not talking about anchovy. I'm just talking about when you walk a long distance, expecting to get something, but you don't. You at least look back and you're like, all right, well, it's the journey that counts. It's not so much about the end destination. Um, I know, like I've definitely walked all the way to like a certain location only to find out it's like closed. Or I just like missed it by that much. The store closes at 6. Or sorry, they close at 6 o'clock. I arrive at 6:01, sort of ordeal. And I don't really mind. I'm like, oh well, it was a nice walk. I'll try again next time. Same thing when you, I guess, walk inside of a store, they don't have anything, and you're like, all right, well, at least it was a journey. And I like to go to shopping centers a lot, and not to really, I guess, get things most of the time, but mostly to like look around and to have some downtime to myself. I know this seems all random to say, but yet again, I'm just thinking about my daily life here. I can't just spend 20 minutes talking about anchovy, but yeah, I just like to walk around in shopping centers out and about because I like some downtime to myself. I like not really going to stores for a specific purpose, like buying anchovy. I gotta relate it somehow to the title. Um, But for just I guess playing on if it's an electronic store, playing on one of those like kiosks that they have for like video game consoles, or just like grabbing a free store magazine, or just simply looking to see, hey, maybe I'll buy that later, just window shopping. And it's sort of therapeutic. I mean, shopping centers are loud places, but at least you don't hear your mum constantly yelling at you. So there's always a plus side to that. No, my mum's good. It's just that like sometimes she's hard of hearing, but despite that, she still shouts from the other side of the house. When your parents call you, they call you by your name. Oh, Joshua, come here. And I'm like, she says Josh, but then I have to like wait again because obviously I didn't hear it the first time. She's on the other side of the house. And then she says, Josh. And I'm like, what? And then nothing happens. It's just silence. So you end up having to walk to, or I have to walk to my mom. You have to walk to your parents or whoever's shouting at you. And they just like tell you, oh, where did I leave my car keys again? Like, you could have called me on my phone. You could have sent a text message. You made me get out of my seat. And, you shouted like, oh, it's like an urgent thing, but it's just like, oh, I want to show you a funny Facebook clip over here. At least that's what my mom does. But I remember um, one of my English teachers in high school told me like a similar story where this time it's with a text message, where that English teacher's, I think it was like grandfather, will just like text him saying, hey, insert English teacher's name here. And then, like, obviously the English teacher would message his grandfather saying, hey, what's up? And then it's just like dead silence for like 30 minutes. And then, like, the grandfather or grandparent, sorry, later, like, elaborates. They say, oh, I need you to do this. Or what do you think of this? I guess that's just the text message version of my experience where someone shouts but you reply, and then there's just like dead silence. So I thought that was pretty funny to bring up, and hopefully some of you can relate to my experience and we can all have a good laugh about it. But anyway, I'm going to close that book. And any other, I guess, life updates? Not really. Obviously planning that trip at the end of the year, and come to think about it, yeah, we're already in late July. It's about to be August soon, which is kind of freaky. Time's flying by very fast, but I've been doing a lot. I'm proud of my progress this year. I'm proud of what I've been doing. Proud of this video journal series, obviously. Um, but I feel like I need to obviously not lose focus. The most important part of the race is most arguably the end. So yeah, keeping up that momentum, and certainly finding more interesting things to talk about other than Anchovy, and ranting about how a very niche, well, I guess niche-ish product at a grocery store could possibly be sold out or not available. And yeah, is that all I want to say from today? That rhymes. Most probably so. Obviously, I got that thing tomorrow with somebody at a pub, which is going to be nice. It's going to be a nice, I guess, send off to the holidays. And it's been a while since I've had pub food. Last time I had food at an establishment was most probably I think it was a bistro, which is sort of like a pub. They serve beer and all that, but I didn't like have any alcohol. But yeah, it's been a while since I've had, I guess, a meal with alcohol, because I might just grab a pint. Um, and I've taken a look at the menu, and these all seem pretty promising. I've been there before, and the food at pubs are generally quite generous. I made a whole video on pub food. You can check that one out. But um, yeah, pub foods, they don't really disappoint. There's always going to be good options. Obviously, if I tell my mom I'm gonna grab a burger, I think she will kick me out of the house. That's an exaggeration, but my mum will not allow me to grab a burger. She's gonna be like, Josh, grab something nice, you know, grab a palmy, grab a steak. And I'm thinking, like, obviously I'll grab a steak. And the last thing I had at the bistro was actually a steak, medium rare. And, as someone who is, I guess, well, for most of my life, I really haven't been into steaks because whenever my parents cook it, they always cook it well done. But as a kid, you don't know the difference between medium rare and well done. You just think, oh, steak is steak. And obviously, a medium rare steak tastes a lot better than a well done steak. And I asked my mom, saying, "Hey, this steak's delicious. It's medium rare. Why don't you make medium rare?" She says, "Oh, I don't know how to, Josh." And obviously, um, understandable. I don't know how to make a medium rare steak as well. But I'm like, hey, maybe I'm not just. Maybe I don't hate steak. Maybe it's just maybe I don't like well done steaks. Maybe if I try more medium rare steaks, I'll be way into it. And like it was pretty good. Obviously, you need a medium rare steak that is like you know done. I don't want to use like these terms out of place, but you need a medium rare steak done right. Not well done because that just lulls what I'm trying to say. Um, so yeah, you definitely need a good medium rare steak, but if done well, sorry, I feel like done well would indicate a well done steak when I'm talking about medium rare, but I'm meaning the other term of well done. You need a good quality medium rare steak. I'll leave it at that. All right, that's a little like a conundrum or sort of paradox. Like you can have a well done medium rare steak, but you can't have a medium rare well done steak. All right, that's that for you. But yeah, I'm gonna close that book about steaks. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. And yeah, I guess I'll. That's it. Yeah, I'll say that's it. And I guess I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye. See you. Take care. Catch you all tomorrow, and I hope I get some more anchovies. But most importantly, stay cool and yeah, just catch you all tomorrow. I didn't want to repeat myself too many times there, but why am I still recording this? Anyway, have a good one.